Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Welcome back to Mastodon Comics and Music. Today is the third episode of the new season of Marvel Graphic Novel Reviews, the show where I go over and tell you a little bit about one of the Marvel graphic novels that I read. Uh, Today we have Starstruck, which was number 13 in the Marvel graphic novel line. And it was uh, released in October of 1984, although I have seen some release dates as January 1984. Some of the release dates for the Marvel graphic novels in different places seem, I don't know, incongruent, uh, if uh, if that's the proper term. Um, but it was written by Elaine Lee with art by Mike Kaluta, none other than the infamous Mike Kaluta, who did work for Epic Illustrated magazine and Conan and a lot of the painted art that we saw in the 70s. Um, this particular graphic novel collects material that was previously printed in Heavy Metal magazine's issues 68 to 76, uh, which in themselves are reprints from a Spanish publication called Illustracion+comix International. This originally began, this world of Starstruck began as a sci fi off Broadway play written by Elaine Lee about the intergalactic space adventures of Galatia 9, or Galactic Girl, and her cohort, Bruscila the Muscle. You see those two wonderful ladies on the cover there. Um, Elaine used many of the tropes in her writing that would become common in later books from uh, guys like Alan Moore, like the Watchmen and From Hell. Um, the Not the most unique thing, but um, maybe unique for the early 80s, was the fact that these stories were fueled by a majority female cast. Lee created her own world, which worked against the battle of the sexes. Uh, every character within was essentially on their own. There was no, you know, uh, central argument. It had everything in there. Um, Essentially, each character was unique to themselves. Many of the themes were inspired by the likes of previous science fiction adventures such as Dune and Star Trek. Um, but Elaine Lee used her own twist of sex, booze, and space guns, uh, along with a lot of absurdities. Every absurdity that she could throw into it. Um, when it came to the art and direction, Mike Kaluta was only happy to oblige. He was full on to this from the get go, and in fact, with the um, off Broadway production, Mike was heavily involved in the set design, and uh, the 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 direction of how the story was to flow. Um, so they were more than just a writing an artist team. They were a production team. Elaine and Mike. Um, Now, To be completely honest, I didn't have a clue what was going on in this book. I don't know if it had to do with the fact that these, maybe the stories, as I said, these were reprinted stories. Not all of them were uh, continuing story arcs. Um, but the first, it's a 72 page uh, book, and a good the good first half of it, I'm still scratching my head. I don't know what the hell's going on, and I have seen this other remarks such as this. Other people saying I still confused about what I just read. Um, the fast paced of roller coaster of this book forces the reader to pay attention, which I to the best of my ability, maybe I'm not as intelligent as I would like to think, uh, as far as grasping the entire concept. Um, there was some things that I was able to uh, pick out and that made sense, but the most of the time it was, I don't know, it was too fast. I guess I don't know. Um, but I am reminded somewhat of the B sci-fi flicks from the 80s, like Ice Pirates, and Spaced Out. Just had that feel to it for me. Maybe even the Jane Fonda movie. The name slips my mind at the moment. Um, but those types of sci-fi movies, um, that were fast paced, and uh, the the characters were thinly clad in clothes. Um, but uh, the second half of the book was, for me, the story started to make more sense, or stories. Um, but all in all, I still struggle to figure out what was going on in this book. But maybe a future reread might um, pick out some things that I didn't had noticed before. Um, we'll see. All in all, the entire concept of the book is great. The female led cast, all that. Um, the art the art alone gets a 7.5 from me. Mike Kaluta is a fantastic artist, and he. I'm not going to say he was perfect, but he was perfect for this project. Um, this book spun off into the Epic Comics imprint, and then later on, I believe it was on Dark Horse and IDW. Uh, all short runs, but there's some continuing stories. Obviously, there was more Elaine Lee uh, wish to tell within the Starstruck realm. Um, that's all I have for you today. Uh, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, or like and comment. I'll put links in the description below for you to check out. If you've read it, give me your thoughts. If you haven't, give it a go. Maybe you'll be able to comprehend what the hell was going on in it better than myself. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be Swords of Swashbucklers uh, by Bill Mantlo and Jackson Juice. I've been eager to read this one. I'm a big fan of swashbuckling tales, the pirates and so forth, and I believe this is a female led story as well. Um, in the meantime, keep reading, keep collecting, and keep sharing.